Hello everyone, welcome to William and the Magic Box. Today on our show, we are going to have Travis. Travis is from Los Angeles in California in the USA. So let's see what Travis has to say. Enjoy the interview. Hello Travis.
How are you?
I'm very well. Thanks so much for taking the time for the interview today. Thank you.
Of course. Let me just close the door back here so it looks pretty. Show them off. So good evening. It is evening time in London for you, isn't it?
Yes, now, sorry. Yes, now in London is 8:30 p.m.
Fantastic. Well, welcome back in time.
Travis, tell me where you're from.
I'm originally from Seattle, Washington, or outside of this city in like the woods, but I spent most of my life in New York and LA.
Okay. And right now you are in LA right now.
I'm not. I'm traveling in Louisville, Kentucky.
Oh, wow. So tell me, how's your day been so far?
Oh, it's a busy day. This is the day I do my meditation class. So I taught my meditation class this morning.
Mm-hmm.
I was recording my YouTube videos for my tarot stuff. I have to write some astrology reports for this week. So Monday and Tuesdays are my busy days, and I have you kind of as a nice friendly distraction in the middle of all of my work.
Oh, sweet. So tell me a little bit about your career. Walk me through a little bit. You said so much already about what you do for a living. So walk me through a bit about your career.
My career. Well, I had a career working in the film industry for 25 years. So that was my career, but the work I do is astrology, palm reading, tarot readings, body work, healing, crystal healing, meditation, yoga instruction. So I do a lot of things, but to me, it's all a certain kind of medicine. And each one of these things is a remedy for a specific kind of thing. So people often come to me with something they're looking for help with or guidance on, and we fit the modality to the challenge or the problem. So it's kind of like an old school medicine man or something, you know?
I see. And when was the change of your career? When that happened, and why, if you can share?
Yeah, I've always done this in the background for fun. I've been studying this kind of stuff for over 30 years. So this is just something I do. But it's hard to find ways to syncretize your work with your career, and so it just took the element of time for myself to age and mature into a place where I could understand how to, I hate to say monetize or commodify, but I had to find a way to transform. I can't work for anybody, so I have to work for myself, and if I'm going to work for myself, I'm going to do it with stuff I like and I care about. And that's how I ultimately got there. You know, I had some pretty public and pretty weird Me Too stories from my days in Hollywood. And, you know, you can only be beat down so long before you want to start healing yourself. And then, of course, that naturally leads to healing others.
I see. So somehow it's always been around your life, always.
It's always a part of it. I mean, being a filmmaker, being a director, you're a shaman. You are literally straddling the two worlds and translating these two things to different groups of people who don't understand one another in the same place. It's like communicating with spirits. You're pulling something from another dimension into this dimension. And if any film ever gets made, period, it's an act of magic and astrological timing. But these are all things that just forms of which I can help others with. And that's all it is you need help, and I have perhaps, other things to consider.
See, amazing. Okay, Trey, so through our journey, William the Magic Box, I'm going to explore a little bit more about your career, about your joys in life, and your point of views as well.
Let's do it.
Are you ready to go on a beautiful journey through your memories in life and to share your point of views?
Yeah, absolutely.
Welcome to William and the Magic Box. best friend, okay? Full of random fun questions. I'm just gonna play a song now just for us to move a little bit before the first question. Let's do it. Like your
I can't. It's like we're so like in different continents that the delay is just disintegrating the music.
Travis, before we start the game, during the journey, if there is a question that you don't want to talk about for some reason, you don't want to answer, always can change, okay? Right.
Sounds good.
First question for you is, what do you like the most in your best friends?
What do I like the most in my best friends? I like the ability to communicate clearly with words and desires. To let things, I don't know, like a lot of, I think of, this makes me think of the times and the friends I've lost who I've been close to. And, you know, what I miss about that the most is, you know, that loyalty, someone who will respect your privacy. That's very important to me, and who won't sell you out, who understands there's a different scope of the benefit of the doubt you get with a best friend that is really important to me, that gives you a little bit of wiggle room to experiment and to live life and to try new things and try to expand the different ways in which you can connect. So there's always can be conflict and friction within that, but I need a best friend who can come along on that ride with me.
And saying that what's the biggest similarity between you and your best friend, and what's the biggest difference?
The biggest similarity between me and my friends, among my best friends, probably just the interest in, you know, the occult and art and the ways they intersect. I've met a lot of people on both of those roads, and I like to kind of carry them with me. And the biggest difference, for some, there's some political differences. For some, there's some of my friends don't even really care about any of the stuff I do, could care less about crystals or whatever, eclipses. So, you know, it's really not about any of those things at the end of the day. It's about just, do I like them? Do I like being around them? Does a deeper part of myself relax when I'm with them? So the differences and similarities are helpful to guide you into a friendship, but it's not what gets you to stay, you know?
Right. Next question, Traves. Let's do it. Next question for you is, tell us about your first kiss and your first love.
First kiss and first love are two different people. I think there was like a girl I made out with in maybe 7th grade because I had a crush on her brother. So I thought if I like made out with her, I could somehow get to her house to just like be around her brother. So and yeah, we made out in the movie. We're in a movie theater, and it was the worst romantic comedy of all time, starring Vanilla Ice. He was in a romantic comedy in the 90s called Cool as Ice. Yeah, I'm blushing just like admitting I saw a Vanilla Ice movie. First love was this guy named Jason Gardner. He was like the boyfriend of my babysitter, and I was in love with him. And I just kept setting up these dramatic, like soap opera like scenes to like talk with him. And I was feeling it so deeply, but he was just, he kind of had this like Volkswagen Rabbit with like cool pinstriping on it. He played cool like goth music and like Susie and the Banshees, and knew a lot about music, and I was just like in love. So that was really, I felt that, so it was so heavy and it was so dramatic, and it was just the hormones and emotions were just coursing through my body. And I feel bad for him because he's probably a couple years older and just was like, what is wrong with this poor kid? It's so embarrassing. Jason, wherever you are, I still love you, and I'm so sorry. Oh, and that was the day to meet him, because I had to be dramatic. I met him at the pier. I'm like, meet me at the pier, like it's a TV show. And he did, and I rode my bike down to the pier, but then like he picked me up and drove me home, and I left my bike behind as a sacrifice for, you know, my maturity at aging into my love with Jason. I was just very, very, very into him. So much so that I would give up
Oh,
a bike for him, and I used to race bikes, so that's very important. That's how much I loved
wow.
him.
And are you still in touch with him?
No, I never saw him again after I admitted my love to him. Yeah, that was it.
Oh, beautiful. Next question, Traves. Let's do it. Traves, before the next question, tell me, as you do a tarot reading and palm reading as well, what's the most frequent questions that your clients or people who comes to you regarding that? What's the most frequent questions? And the other part of the question is, what's the biggest misconception that people has regarding tarot reading overall?
I think the most common question is, what will happen in the future? Like, where's this going? What's going to end here? How is this going to end? Anxieties about relationships, money, these basic kind of primal things. And often the question they come in with is not the real question at hand. So it's a matter of kind of just dialing those in. Well, what is it about this guy, or relationships in general, or where does this fear of insecurity, of material insecurity, come from? So we kind of usually, when people come in with those big tentpole questions, money, future, relationships, that's a cue for me to like ask some more questions to get deeper, because there's something else underneath that, right? And so the biggest misconception about tarot is that it's something, you know, some kind of like communing with the dead or the devil or something. And you know, I'm in Kentucky right now, so it's interesting hearing people respond to me when I say I do these things, because I'm in a very Christian area right now, and they're very concerned that this is a disruptive thing, right? So I get that a lot. Even for people who are a little bit more centrist about these things, it's still something kind of spooky about it to people. And, you know, I just say, look, this is a personal development tool. It's a storytelling tool to help bring change and creative thinking to your life in ways you hadn't thought of before. It's just introducing another mirror into the hall of mirrors of the ways you consider and make decisions and way information flows in and out of your life. But it is an occult tool, but it is not a cult, right? And there's esoteric traditions in every religion you can point to, right? We can link. There's a tarot deck that Robert Place did that is about the saints, and you know, just about the imagery on it, having images people can relate to, whether it's their religion or their skin color or gender or sexual orientation. Having a deck that mirrors them often is the way in. So I have several, because if I show a woman in this town who is, you know, church-going lady, and, you know, is a certain kind of politics, I have a different deck for that. That's a little safer, a little easier to kind of speak in symbols that are familiar to her, right? That is the key to tarot, is finding a way for the images to speak to somebody else, not just you. At least when I'm doing it in person, you know, which I love the most.
Amazing. Very good. Next question for you is, what is the first thing that you think about when you wake up?
Meditation.
Wow. Always
I'm
been?
alive. Check. Okay, next is meditation. It's my aim to meditate with the sunrise. Yeah. So I'm always concerned about the light and where I am. And sometimes when I'm traveling, I don't do that. But yeah, meditation practice is very important, and it is the way to start the day.
Do you believe, in your opinion, that doing meditation can be any time of the day, or maybe it's more powerful, or more like in the morning or in the evening, or it depends the person?
Depends on the person, depends on the meditation, depends on the meditation practice, depends on lots of things. Yeah, if doing a mantra practice might be quite activating. So those are things I like to do in the morning. But recitation or a mantra practice, like a rosary, you know, is a recitation practice. Those things can be relaxing to somebody else, but those things really get me going. And it's just experimenting and knowing what styles of meditation do what to you. There are certain meditations if I do in the morning, I will just fall right back asleep. So in my Tuesday meditation classes, we do a different style of meditation every week so that people who are meditating on their own can try all the different kinds of meditation so that they can find their own, because there is no one size fits all for meditation.
I see. All right. Very interesting. Next question. Let's do it. Right. First, next question for you is, what is your funniest memory of a date that you had?
Funniest memory of a date that I had? Probably I had a lunch date with somebody at Pastis in New York like 20 years ago. And I had been I was a nanny. I used to be a nanny for some children in New York back when I was in college, and the mom was late to pick up the baby, so I had to bring the baby with me on the date. And I was just like, look, dude, I have a baby with me. I'm gonna have a baby with me. Is that okay? We can reschedule. It's like, no, it doesn't bother me. Well, it didn't bother him, but it really, really, really interested. He just had like love in his eyes when he saw me holding a baby. And I was like, oh no. He was just looking for the father of his children, you know? And so when I said I had a baby, he was really excited about that. And he wanted to hold the baby. He wanted, like, it was just like, I was so mortified. But he was a lawyer. He paid for my car service. I was kind of like, okay, I can get used to this. But I had, I do not have an interest in children, and I had to let him know that I see that you want children, and this is something that I just do as a job. But it just felt like a Sex in the City date gone wrong or something, and just no, not this. No, you're supposed to like run away from me when you see a baby. Now you're wanting it more. Oh boy.
It means you guys didn't have the second date.
He tried. Boy, did he try. But no, I needed somebody who can honor and celebrate my sovereignty, and who I can do the same for. And, that doesn't involve marriage or children for me.
Right.
So I had to break his heart with a baby in my arms. It was embarrassing.
But it was sweet at the same time from his eyes.
Oh yeah. I mean, he's getting exactly what he wanted. So.
Oh, sweet. Next question for you, Trace. Let's do it. Next question for you is, what does money mean to you?
Exchange.
Tell me why and how.
Money is just a materialized form of exchange. You want this thing, I will exchange this thing for that. So if you look at money as something that you can exchange value with, it takes on a whole other thing. I was a sex worker for 25 years, and that's often the thing is people ask, oh, why do you sell your body? Like, no, I'm offering a service, right? The service is in exchange for something else. Money is how we formalize that. But I'm looking for an exchange of honesty and an exchange of things. I will do this thing for you. You give me that money to do that. There's nothing more honest than a sex work transaction. No one's there to pretend to be somebody else. They're there to get what they want, right? So money to me is just a way to formalize that arrangement. And, in my daily life, I barter, I trade services. I trade, astrology readings for a massage. I trade a massage for, fruit and vegetables at the farmer's market. I try to engage in that bartering stuff with my services for others. And I always offer sex workers free reading, for free first reading. If they need help, we don't get healthcare, we don't get mental health care, we don't get services. So I can offer an astrology reading that might help you. I'm here for it. But that's the thing. That's how the money becomes an exchange of value, and how I arrange my values becomes something quite abstract and, perhaps anarchist.
Saying that, do you believe that money can bring happiness?
Absolutely. but 95% of my problems can be solved with money right now, and most people that I work with. It's just that we have to constantly have creative thinking about how to move things around inside of a cash flow, inside of a schedule that's not ours. And that's where they, you know, whoever they are, they get us, right? The fees come in, and the grace periods and credit cards and whatever, rents due. Money breathes and lives a little bit differently, and that tension is, you know, we're seeing that play out in society right now. But yeah, absolutely, you can buy happiness. Is it the thing that's going to solve everything? No, but at my age, with my experience, if I had a lot of money, it'd solve a lot of my problems, and I would kind of know what to do with it for sure.
All right,
but that's not the answer. True happiness comes from within, you know.
Let's see, ready for another one?
Yeah,
let's do it. Next question. Travis, before the next question, as you work with astrology, yeah? I'm sure you might have this frequent question that I'm going to ask you now. In your opinion, what's the star signs most compatible, and what's the star signs that they can never be together? They don't match at all, in your opinion. There's any?
Yeah, that's a good, oh my God, you're making me think, really think now. So stars, zodiac signs that are compatible and signs that are not compatible. Yeah, I think probably the easiest, I mean, I could do like an entire workshop on this question. Well, you know, I think of the traditional rulership scheme in traditional astrology where certain planets rule certain signs, and that gives us a real clue into planetary combinations and who has synastry and who does not. And you can think of things elementally, right? Like fire and air together, right? Like wind, the air can fan the flames of fire, right? It can fan the flames into other fuel. So fire and air can be a really volatile combination, right? It's hard to say difficult or opposite, but there's an acceleration happening there, right? There's something kind of like let's say like Aries and Libra. And these signs are across from one another in the zodiac, right? There's this inherent tension built into the wheel of the zodiac. So air and fire, I can be really passionate, but fire burns, you know, fast and hard and bright, and it's going to can burn out fast with like a forest fire. It's going to burn everything, but it's going to burn pretty fast. And that's it. So I think of things elementally when I'm looking for combinations. So like if I'm, let's say, you know, this Aries, this fiery sign, and I want someone to kind of like temper me and cool me down when I get home and like help me slow down in life, I might look for like a water sign, right? Water to cool this fire, to kind of soothe, to cool my lava as it flows into the ocean as I get home. So I think of things elementally, but the opposite signs in the zodiac have inherent tensions within them. And so that's kind of one way to look at it, is who's across from you in the zodiac, and certain planetary combinations just create a incoherence, you know? So yeah, look at these, just think it really easily. Think of this in terms of elements, as you know, that fire, air, water, earth, these are all things we know how they feel and look like and how they soothe and irritate us. So learn the elements of the different signs and you'll find a lot of information around this.
Good. Next question is, what is your all-time favorite band and why?
All-time favorite band? Man, that's a tough one, but probably Sleater-Kinney, who are out of the Pacific Northwest, where I grew up. This is like in like the post-grunge, like Riot Girl, punk feminist, queercore movement. Carrie Brownstein of Sleater-Kinney went on to do Portlandia and be a comedian, but the band was girls I grew up with. These are people I grew up with and didn't really know them, but we're in a scene together, right? We were always at the same parties and dance parties, but I saw them just get better and bigger and better and bigger. And really, really, as they got bigger and better, they refused to sell out to bigger record labels. They refused all kinds of deals and all kinds of money. They just were like, no, we just want to make music the way we want to make music. And they had this integrity, and it's the one band I've seen like in its full scope. They're still together after 30 years or something. Yeah, being able to be close to it and witness it as a kid. And it's kind of like Christian Bale in Velvet Goldmine, where he's kind of like chasing after the Bowie kind of guys. I just felt like I was in the scene with them and they were around and I got to breathe the air with them. And they're always attracting cool people and smart people and collaborating with really amazing people. It was a really great hub to have access to. And so their music, each album is like a different phase of my life. And I have like 12 albums, just really smart, politically savvy women who are from the dark woods of the Pacific Northwest who have something to say. And, you know, in the Northwest where I grew up, ambition is like a bad word. You do not stick your head above the parapet. You are like one of the others, you know, we're like, everyone's like an anarcho, you know, communist or something. But we're all about like, no one else gets ahead until we all get ahead. And that scene, their ambition was really inspiring to me because I was in film school and I was doing all this stuff, right? So their music is so meaningful to me, but also just who they are as business people and who they are as artists they're solid people.
See. Wow. Next question, Traves. Let's do it. Next question is, who do you count the most for help?
Who do I count on the most for help? Myself. Yeah, absolutely. You know, that is a healthy response or not. But, you know, as somebody who I left home when I was 14 and lived on the streets and was homeless, like I know how to do everything. I've landed on my feet this long. Like I have been in some difficult situations based on my work and, you know, life conditions, and people disappear. When you get sick, people disappear. When you get older, people disappear. When you say the wrong pronouns, people disappear. If you try and fail at things, people disappear. If you succeed in things, people disappear. Like any stage of life, any cycle of whatever you're in, positive or negative, you kind of tend to lose people around these things. And I've had lots of, what I was trying to get to before was, yeah, you don't, sometimes when people disappear, that begins to a chain of events that begins to limit who you can count on. So now, if I need help, I pay, or I do it myself. And I'm working on that because I'm learning on letting people in who are the right people who can help, who want to help for the right reasons. So, yeah, you know, so that's a tender area for sure.
See. Yes, I think in the end of the day,
I'm always learning how to do it.
Yeah, I think in the end of the day, it's gonna come down to us to sort our problems out, isn't it? In the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to like just use my friends for therapy and, you know, whatever. Like you need to outsource things correctly. So finding that the right places for that kind of stuff can help you have better friends, and that's kind of my plan of action right now.
Right. Next question. Let's do it. Right. Next one is, if you could meet yourself when you were 15 years old again, which advice would you give to yourself at the time?
That's an interesting question, because I often think of my intuition as my future self speaking back to me in time. So I feel like I've had that, and I had myself as my own guide, kind of per your last question too. I think my intuition has really helped me in that way. And because I think it's my future self talking to me, often, you know, I wish if I could really emphasize something more, would be to really figure school out and get school right. I've been trying to get my undergraduate degree for like 20 years, and it's just, you know, I had to get from the streets. I had to like go to street kid school and like get a street kid GED and everything to be able to go to school in New York. But once I got to New York, the financial reality of being a poor kid with no money became very difficult. And I dropped out of college 12 credits shy of my degree because I couldn't afford to do a thesis movie, right? I couldn't afford to make the film. And so that just, if I could go back in time, it's just like, I would say, do whatever you can to stay in school, because I like school. Like I would be doing a second PhD now if I had that. Like I want to kind of do this, but that piece is, it's just so difficult now. So I would just say, stay in school. You know, and there's all kinds of ways to school, right? Like it's not just go to school where you're being abused and bullied. It's like, here, there's other programs available for you, but get those things that can allow you to have more possibility for an educational journey. Yeah, that's big for me.
And for you, how was growing up as a gay boy during your time? Was a challenge, or did you have support of your family?
No, not at all. And not in the ways you'd think. Like I'm from the liberal Northwest with a liberal mother, like the conditions on the ground should be like accurate for like, oh, a gay boy can grow up here, it's fine. But what you don't understand is that realization in yourself can often be a trigger for somebody else, right? And those things begin to subconsciously around you form this storm that they don't know they're even responsible for. So it was just this bizarre hurricane of my childhood was not a positive experience for this reason. They're calling me gay before I even knew what it was. Like I didn't know what that meant, but I remember from an early age like being in love. Like I had boyfriends in kindergarten. I remember being like a really like a young toddler, and there was like back in the day that they used to have people come push your cart out to your car for you, and there was this one boy who had these frosted tips, of course. And speaking of Vanilla Ice, and he was so cute. I remember being in love with him and saying to my mom, I'm in love with him. And she's like, that's not what you say, very clearly being guided. And I had that a lot. And in kindergarten, I had a boyfriend. Like, no, he's not your boyfriend. Like I was always I never came out because I was never in. I don't have that story, but I have a different struggle that when it doesn't mean it's easier, right? So I knew, but I didn't know what gay meant. Like it was this big confusion to link those things together, and very young. And so by the time like 7th, 8th grade came around, I really knew what they were talking about. And that's when I was beginning to plot my dropping out of this school. It was absolutely miserable. There was no positive story around that, other than that I got out and thrived despite that, through the help of a community of street hookers, essentially male street hookers who helped me, and my trans sex worker elders. These people took me in and taught me astrology and taught me about things, and right. So yeah, there's a lot there. Does that answer the question? Now I'm just like living, It's a Wonderful Life or something in my head.
I just love it because I can see you're literally going again through that situation and living again for some reason. I can just feel it. You're just going through and doing the imagination back at that time. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I think we all have that like thing we feel in our bodies that launch us into these reveries, and yeah, these are questions I don't usually get.
Traves, I have 3 questions left for you. Let's do it. Before the next one, in your opinion, do you think that nowadays, do you feel that people, they are more into the spiritualism world? They are more spiritual. They are more connected with this, with themselves. Like being spiritual is about connect with yourself. Do you think people nowadays they are more into it, or they believe more, in your opinion, or not?
Yes, and absolutely, there is definitely and you can look at this in transits too, with Neptune and Pisces. When that happened, 2013 or something, we began to really see everybody on the internet becoming an astrologer and talking about this stuff. There's a big resurgence. So we can look to transits to explain some of that as well, especially with those outer planet transits, right? They're more about societal and generational changes, not like the day-to-day Mars and Venus and Mercury of our lives. but it seems that I have a hard time discerning if people are really doing spirituality or if they're collecting it. Just another charm on their bracelet of whatever capitalist thing you live in, right? Just, oh, I have a spiritual charm. See, I did this. And anyone who gets close to that and gets any benefit from it, I'm all about. But, whether it's more now, I think people are displaying it more for sure. But everybody believes this stuff. Everybody has some kind of superstition or some lucky charm hanging on their mirror. Or if you look at the world and drive around, even people have all kinds of things like this everywhere. It's built into our folk, our folk ways. It's built into our people. Our communities all have different codified behaviors about what's good luck, what's bad luck, what do we do, how do we protect something, how do we ensure something. So all of these things are irrelevant because it exists whether we want it or not. So they're learning new ways of organizing it. They're learning ways to connect it with other people. They're learning new kind of forms of spirituality. And I do not think spirituality is a psychological process. And I think it often can become that, like, oh, I can become more focused and be a better leader at work. It's like, well, okay, yes, that can happen. But there's also, ethics and things you can learn about first, maybe. So yeah, people are really comfortable demonstrating spirituality these days, but the actual practice of it, it begins with some real hard work that takes time, not just a hour-long yoga on your lunch break. So, and I teach a meditation class, and I struggle with this because I offer this meditation as a way of being a springboard into these things. But people just don't want to meditate a lot. So they don't get to even past the first layers of these things. So that's when it has the danger of just being something you're collecting, right? Because the hurdle to overcome to kind of really start doing things that really kind of have measurable change in your life, it requires a leap of faith that I'm seeing mixed data on, I guess.
All right. Next question is, if you could be any age, what age would you choose and why?
This age, I'm 44. I own every year I've lived, man. I come from a generation of gay people where all of my elders died, I have a lot to live for. I need to live as much as I can for those men who died of AIDS in the 80s, 90s, or still. So I have a feeling of, yeah, I value my age. I value my gray hair and my beard. I value my balding. I've earned that. That's what Saturn is in astrology, this thing that takes time, this maturity, this get to a place. Yeah, I own all of this. And, come what may, my face will change. This will all change. This age, always, forever. I've earned it, man. I've earned it. I'll never lie. I lied about my, when I'm a hooker, I lie about my age because I don't want people to find out my actual birthday. But yeah. Yeah, this age, always.
I see. 2 questions left for you. Let's do it.
I still can't hear anything.
Next question
Everyone's
is...
going to think I'm a horrible dancer because I can't keep a beat.
I think you're modest. I think you can dance very well, for sure.
Okay, good.
Next question
I'm better with a bar and strobe lights, so I could be on a bar dancing.
Oh, you give me ideas now for my guests on the show. I'm gonna put some lights on just for them.
Yeah, get some go-go dancers on your show. I can just have them in the background,
Next question is, what gives you butterflies?
What gives me butterflies?
Go-go dancers. I'm joking.
Oh my God. I used to get so nervous when I was a go-go dancer. I would throw up. I was so nervous. And it was always cold, and I would get nervous when it's really cold. That just made me nauseous. I was like I was a go-go dancer puking in the back that you were tipping and you had no idea. But butterflies, traveling, I get nervous flying a little bit. I get nervous with if someone is cute and flirty and they're kind of smart and witty and punny, like I will. There's a moment where I get a crush on someone. It isn't some like thing where I see them or it develops like they have to say something and look a certain way and move a certain way. When I realize someone's kind of clever and witty, I'm just like, oh, I have to like, okay, this is getting good. So yeah, wit, humor, being punny, clever, wordplay just always gets me really excited. I'm a Gemini,
Ooh,
so I like
ooh,
wordplay, you know?
very good. Ready for the last one?
Oh gosh. Okay, I'm sad now. Yes.
Last one. Right. Before the last question, you mentioned at the beginning of the interview that you use some tarot reading, the first tarot reading for sex workers, yeah?
Mhm.
And you do that because based in your experience, or it's just something that's you're kind of helping them out somehow? What's the reason behind?
Yeah, both. I did it because I made an agreement with myself. If I was going to begin to charge people for healing services or massage or tarot or astrology, that I need to tithe some of that somehow. That it can't be entirely a money-making endeavor for me. I need it to be like people who are in need to have access to it. And of course, I can't give that to everybody, so I'll give it to my community. And that's as easy. And and because also sex workers are often the people who are really taking the brunt of all of these things, right? They're the ones who are up against the internet, the laws governing the internet, from monkeypox. Like sex workers are on the front lines of all of the news headlines of any issue in any country, everywhere. And those who are often those who are the most oppressed, Black, brown, trans women, are the ones who I essentially I'm offering this to the most. Like who are the ones in my community who are really the most in need? And so that kind of began under like Black Lives Matter. Was like, what can I do? I just don't feel like I can be on the streets doing this during COVID. Like, what can I do to help people right now? And that's what I came up with. Was like, oh, I do something that people like and pay for, and I'm hopefully good at, and that can be really useful. And that's the thing that over time I have this wisdom, hopefully over time, and this experience that then I can lend to people who need their voices amplified and need to be listened to and need to have some resources that are offered to them. Because when you're surviving on a day-to-day level like that, just making some of those decisions can be quite challenging when you're surviving, or when you're traumatized, or when you come from places you're trying to escape and do this work to get a better life. That some of the most simple choices are the hardest, and that this can help that, at least, and that's how it just this wasn't like a decision, just kind of like it kind of over time unfolded, like, yeah, I need to be doing it this way. Of course.
Very good. Last question for you is, what things do you consider to be relationship deal breakers?
A relationship. Yeah, kind of. I'm a lone wolf. So yeah, if somebody's like, and I hope I make that clear when I do date. I rarely date, but when I do, it's like, look, if you want to be together and do our own thing together and find ways to make that fit together naturally, if it does, great. But yeah, it's my friends, my lovers, my clients, my community. I'm very satisfied with how I connect with people, and I have some great ways of finding pleasure in my life, and I get everything I need met without a relationship. So it's not something I naturally seek. But when someone wants to force a relationship on something, it's kind of like, look, I've told you my boundaries, I've told you what I'm into, I told you my values, whatever. Now you're kind of like just not hearing that. That's often the conversation that can be quite a challenge, because often I like the people I'm spending time with and I want to be around them, but the communication and expectation, what people hear, it just gets really confused sometimes when we're dealing with, hormones, sexual excitement. Men do not listen when there's a boner, so you have to kind of like You gotta plan carefully.
Right. It's not the end yet, okay? Let's do the word association game. But before we do the word association game, I'm going to do the word association game with the star signs, okay? I'm going to say the star signs. You just tell one word to define them, okay? Right.
Oh, okay, I'll do my best
with...
to give it one word, but that's tough.
So, I hope you are enjoying the interview. Before we do the word association game, don't forget to give a like, don't forget to share this video, and also don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Just click on the button right there. Thank you so much and enjoy the word association game. Right, one word for
Okay.
Cancer.
Protection.
Sagittarius.
Adventure.
Leo.
Performance.
Aquarius.
Oh God. Outside the box. I don't know. I can't think of one word.
Pisces.
Pisces. Unification.
Aries.
Well, it's not one word, but one of my favorite astrologers, Rick Levine, says, ready, fire, aim.
Taurus.
Gardening.
Virgo.
Spreadsheets.
Scorpio.
Secrets. Grudges.
Gemini.
Talking.
Libra.
Diplomacy.
Capricorn.
Capricorn. Mysterious.
Interesting. Okay, so let's do now the word association game, okay? One word for family.
No thanks.
One word for money.
Yes, please.
Love.
Everything. Love is everything.
Life.
Worth living.
Sex.
Mystery.
Politics.
Pass.
Regrets.
Build character.
Religion.
Separation.
Fear.
Love.
Friendship.
Loyalty.
Desire.
Follow.
Success.
On my terms.
Wish.
All the time.
Happiness.
Comes from within.
One word for New York.
Money.
One word for LA.
Even more money.
One word for USA.
Transformation.
One word for astrology.
Timing.
One word for meditation.
Unification.
And the last one now, tarot reader, one word.
Guide.
Okay. Let's pretend I'm going to meet your best friend for a coffee, okay? And I'm going to ask your best friend, what is the most beautiful thing about Travis, and what's something that he still needs to work on, to improve on? What your best friend would say?
Gosh, oh God. Probably that I'm very gregarious. And what I need to work on? Gosh, who knows? I mean, finding new ways to connect with old friends. You know, when you have friends for a long time, you need to keep things fresh in that way too. You don't just get in a marriage and just let that go. You need to keep it fresh, right? So with friends, you got to keep that fresh too. Very important.
All right. Let's play now Trades and the Magic Books, and you can ask me a question. Yeah, you can ask me a question now.
Yeah. Do you have a meditation practice?
Okay, I'm gonna be very honest to you. Before the lockdown, I found myself like 2019. I found myself some periods. Like, I don't know, feeling anxious about things, about, I don't know, overall in my life. And I started briefly, like very basic, doing some meditations after work when I was coming back home. And I did a few times, not a lot, but I did a few times. But I know I never done professionally. I never follow anyone. And actually, one of my closest friends, he's from Wales, and he does a lot. He does retreats as well in Sweden. He travels to Sweden,
Cool.
and he's very spiritual. Actually, I'm talking to you now. Like, he's very peaceful the way he talks, and yeah, he does almost every day. And we talk a lot about meditation. But no, I haven't done like, let's say, often, like you know what I mean, like every day, or like in a certain time of the of my time. I haven't.
Interesting. Well, when you're ready, I'm so glad you have a resource you can reach out to right there. That's perfect. And what a dreamy thing to like have your first meditation retreat be in Sweden. I don't know. Sounds worth looking into.
Yes, and actually, I had when I was trying, I was following, was on YouTube. I had this person kind of guiding how to relax, how to meditation, and I did a few times, but I stopped it. And you know, yeah, it's something that I would love to do, because I think, as you said at the beginning, like, my God, like when I wake up and have this, you know, I think it's your days are different, as you said, depending the meditation as well, because you might fall asleep again. You might get too relaxed.
That's why it's very important to sit up. When I like lay down or sit against a wall, I'm gonna fall asleep.
Absolutely.
Sleeping is a worthy way of relaxing, though. Okay.
Absolutely. Traves, did you enjoy the interview?
Yeah, this is fantastic. This is fun. I haven't really done anything like this, so it's cool.
Thanks so much for being sweet and kind and to accept my invitation. Thank you very much. I must say, I was a bit intimidated at the beginning. I was like, oh my goodness, because, you know, when I had, you know, the way you were talking very peacefully, but as soon as we started, I felt comfortable, and here we are in the end of the interview. Thanks so much for taking the time. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Before you go, if you can share a positive message, something that you live by.
Positive message, something to live by. Hold on, I think I was just taking a note. I was reading something last night, and I was taking some notes. Let me pull something up. You were asking about, like, you said the word wish, I think, when we're talking about word association. And I like that there's this quote from the Corpus Hermetica, this book on Hermeticism, is a Western mystery tradition from Egypt. And in book one, there's this quote that I love. And it's just, the quote is, "And with the wish, the energy was born." Right? Just wishing for something creates the possibility of its existence, right? That's just, we can call that new thought, we can call that positive thinking, we call that all kinds of things now, but that is true. The wish, it all starts with the wish, right? You ask about desire. Isn't desire a wish? So that quote, that, "And with the wish, the energy was born." Just a beautiful, simple thing. Something we can all think about. Anyone, no matter what we want or who we are, it's the wish, how important that wish is. And the wish is a wish enough? And I say yes, absolutely.
Very good. It was a pleasure, Travis. Thanks so much for the interview. I really, really love connect with you. Thanks so much. And take care. Thanks so much for the interview and keep
Thank you, William. Thank you for the opportunity to meet you and hang out with you. This is so fun.
Take care.
Okay, I'll see you later.
See you later. So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why do you like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye bye, see you next time.